And we're recording. Hopefully the sound is not too bad. So I wanted to make a video today about alignment in SwiftUI, and we're going to go through a very basic example, but I'm hoping that this will help you with your alignment problems in SwiftUI, as well as help you better understand how alignment works. So we have basically just a simple hello world. Here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to embed this inside a VStack so that I can walk you through a couple of different alignment examples. And let me actually make another text label here, and this one, let's just make it a little shorter. Hey. Okay, and so right away, what you're seeing is that by default, basically the text labels inside VStack are aligned center. And you'll also notice that the whole VStack itself is aligned center to the view that it's in. So this container, this body view. And the other thing that you will notice is that the VStack only takes up as much space as is needed by its children, right? So these text labels kind of define what the borders and the size of this frame is. Now, it is very common, for example, to want a very specific size of the frame. So what you could do is after this VStack, you can add a modifier, and you can define your frame width. So let's say the width is going to be 200, and you can see right away that VStack grows. But just like I said before, the items inside it are center aligned. And to better help you understand that, let's also change the height, and let's make that 200 as well. Okay, so the VStack itself now grew in size, so we're occupying more space in our frame. And both of these items inside it are still centered, right, inside this stack. And so this is where we can sort of change some of the alignment here. One of the ways to do it will be to tell VStack how do you want the items aligned, and that's done with the alignment property. So you could say alignment leading, and what you'll see is that both text labels are now aligned to their leading edge. You also could have trailing. Right, so now they could be aligned on the trailing side. And what you also could do is say dot center, which is basically the default behavior. So if that's what you want, you never need to add that center alignment. Now, let's go back to leading. So you will see something actually peculiar because. And this is something that confused me in the beginning when I started. So you're looking at these text labels. While they're aligned to the left in relation to each other, you'll notice that if I'm looking at the stack itself, especially with the new frame and the new height, that they're still centered inside that frame, meaning they are aligned to the left in relation to themselves, but as far as the whole stack goes, they're still inside and to the center of it. And to better illustrate this, let me actually add a couple of backgrounds so you could see. So I'm going to add a background here. Let's say the color will be orange. And you could see that this stack itself, right, up to this point, is still only the size of its children, only after we add the frame here does it grow. And you can actually see this by, if we add another background here, color red, right? That this box outside actually sort of has nothing to do with this VStack here. It is it kind of gets applied right to this frame here. So this frame does not actually change how big this VStack is. This VStack will always be as big as its children here. You're basically defining an outside space that this frame will occupy, and then you can give it another background. So hopefully that kind of explains why when you're deleting here, these two text labels are still sort of in the middle. Now, what we could do here obviously is, let's say if we wanted to have them be right here on the leading side of this frame, you can actually add a alignment property in the frame itself, alignment dot leading, and you'll see that that will move the label. You can also do alignment dot top. You can do top leading. You can do top trailing. You can do trailing, right? So that will be in the center, but trailing. And then you also have the bottom, right? So you can do bottom, boom. You can do bottom leading, and you can do bottom trailing. And that's kind of how you can move this around this box. Meanwhile, the elements inside the stack are still aligned, leading edge. And if we change that to center, you'll see that they'll be aligned next to themselves, right? This obviously, the size of this, like I said before, is also dependent on the children. So if this is bigger, that will grow again. And then at that point, where it gets too big, you will see that it's sort of like will only occupy the frame that we give it on the outside, right? So it will be as small as it needs to be, you know, or it can grow as large as it has to be, but because we specified this width, it can't be bigger than that. I hope that explains the alignment a little bit in SwiftUI, and as you can imagine, we've been using VStacks here. It's exactly the same thing for the other type of stacks. Hopefully this was helpful. Thanks for watching.